All right, I'm going to call the City Council caucus meeting to order. I apologize for the delay, but we were in executive session for some claims issues. So, we have one public hearing, if the clerk would read that.
Public hearing number 1 regarding an ordinance to amend section 87-6 and 87-30 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding management health benefits.
Okay. All right, so as I said, that will be our only public hearing tonight, so we'll go on to the items for original consideration. Item number 1.
Item number 1, for final consideration, an ordinance amending section 248 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding towing fees.
All right, this was discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2, for original consideration, an ordinance amending zoning from an M2 manufacturing district to an R1 residential district for property at 2876 and 2900 Olean Street, introduced only with a resolution calling for a public hearing on the above proposed ordinance for July 22nd, 2013.
All right, discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3, a resolution authorizing a reappropriation of the 2013 budget related to the golf course.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4, I'm going to pull off the agenda. We plan to recess this meeting tonight for another issue, and I want us to discuss this again on Monday night at 5:30. So, Mrs. Prazo.
Going back to the towing.
Okay, choose Mike.
I'm just looking for a little clarification with regard to the item number 1. I don't see there in the language of where it's an accident that the fee would not be charged to the person unless it was an unlawful situation. If Corporation Counsel could point that out to me, please.
If you look at the last resolution that's in your packet, it is the resolution that is setting the fees. If you remember, where there has been an ordinance where there is a fee to be charged, the council has established a recent policy that the fees themselves would be set by resolution as opposed to changing the ordinance, so that you can change them time to time as you deem appropriate without having to go through the full procedure to pass an ordinance. And if you look at the first paragraph of the resolution, not the whereases, but it reads, it starts out and so on, and it goes on, to be charged for each vehicle that is subject to a city-ordered tow resulting from any incident wherein the operator of the vehicle was issued a citation for a violation of the Schenectady City Code or the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. You're welcome.
Okay, all right. So anyway, going back to the agenda, item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution setting the fee referenced in the City Code Section 204 for public assembly inspections.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to enter into a contract with and accept a grant from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a contract with and accept a grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with the County of Schenectady relative to hazardous materials.
Mr. Riggi, roll call vote. Okay. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an operating agreement with the Young Women's Christian Association, Northeastern New York, for use, operation, and maintenance of the Front Street Pool facility.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing Cornell's Restaurant to serve alcoholic beverages for its annual Little Italy Festa on September 7th, 2013.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11, a resolution authorizing the transfer of title of 1551 Foster Avenue, consisting of SBL 39.5-2-25.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari concerning 197 Clement Avenue, 195 Clement Avenue, 128 Clayton Road, and 173 Gifford Road.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 13.
Item number 13, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari concerning 1016 State Street.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14, a resolution authorizing settlement of a tax certiorari concerning 39 North J Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari concerning 518 Manhattan Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 16.
Item number 16, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a claim by Robert Stern.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 17.
Item number 17, a resolution to help provide additional protection to crossing guards by calling for the New York State Assembly to pass Bill A-3757, New York State Senate to pass Bill S-122, and urging Governor Andrew Cuomo to sign the aforementioned bills into law.
Okay, I believe we'll take this out of order. Mrs. Brucker will present. All right, item number 18.
Item number 18, a resolution recognizing Newest Lunch Restaurant for being in business for 92 years.
Also, I believe we're taking this out of order. Ms. Porterfield, you're presenting? Okay. Number 19.
Item number 19, a resolution recognizing Bill Glock and Family Tire.
Out of order again. Mr. Riggi, you'll present that. Okay. And number 20.
Item number 20, a resolution establishing a City of Schenectady surcharge for vehicles towed and impounded.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. If there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus meeting, Mr. Riggi? Oh, you're moving to adjourn? Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, Ms. Porterfield, all in favor? Aye. All right. Then I will hereby call the City Council caucus meeting for July 8th, 2013 to order. If you'd please rise for the invocation by Reverend Arthur Butler.
Most gracious Father, most loving Creator, we invite you into this hall. We invite you into these proceedings. We invite your spirit of unity. We invite you tonight to come in and help these people do your business, God. We ask that you bless each and every one. We ask that you carry your spirit through so that the work can be done and that the people can be served. We ask these blessings and all blessings, knowing that they come from you, and the most highest regards to your name and who you are. Amen.
I'll ask Connie Colangelo to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Barrazo? Ms. Porterfield? Here. Mr. Erickson? Here. Ms. Brucker? Present. Mr. Riggi? Here. Ms. Blanchard is excused. Ms. King?
Present. Present. Now, I believe before we get to our out of order resolutions, the mayor has a presentation he would like to make.
Thank you, Madam President. If I could ask Connie Colangelo and crew to come inside the rail. Yes, Connie's crew. Recently had the opportunity to go to Nykirk, Holland, and participate in their 600th anniversary of Nykirk being a city. And most people know that Nykirk is where Arndt and Curler originated from, came to this country, and settled here in the Mohawk Valley in what is now Schenectady. And over the years, there has evolved a camaraderie, a friendship between the two cities, which was finally formalized this year between Nykirk and Schenectady, adopting a sister city relationship. And the mayor of Nykirk, again, was very gracious and was also somewhat disappointed that, unfortunately, Connie had some other conflicts in her schedule and was not able to make the trip this year. And so he asked me to do a presentation that he had hoped to do in Nykirk when you came this year. And they are also excited in Nykirk that, because we televised our committee meetings and council meetings for a long time here, and that this meeting is being webcast, and so people in Nykirk are also watching this ceremony, and that the mayor of Nykirk had told me that he will be watching this, and a group of people there will be partaking in this presentation, and so that I'm his substitute tonight, and that appreciate everyone coming down here. But Connie, the city of Nykirk first wanted to give you a pin just that symbolizes the symbol of Nykirk. But then, more importantly, to present to you a Medal of Honor from the city of Nykirk, which is a sterling medal. It's embossed with your name, and it is the highest honor that the city of Nykirk can bestow upon you. So that on behalf of the mayor of Nykirk, I am proud to present that to you, and that the mayor had said that in this letter, I will explain why we, the municipality of Nykirk, have awarded you with this medal. You, Mrs. Colangelo, are involved with the Schenectady Nykirk Council for more than 30 years. In this period, a strong bond has arisen between the two cities. Because of this strong bond, it is possible to have exchanges every year. Our youngsters get the possibility to know each other's cultures and to stay and host families in another country. This is also your effort, your dedication for the people of Nykirk, achieved that so many people in Schenectady also cared for the strong bond between these two sister cities. And that is the reason for this Medal of Honor. And I hope you will join the Schenectady Nykirk Council for many more years. And I express that hope that our mutual friendship will last for many years to come. So again, on behalf of the Mayor of Nykirk, Connie, I am very proud to present that to you. And again, thank you for all the work that you've done on behalf of Schenectady and Nykirk.
This is the second time I've been surprised, and you don't surprise me too often because I keep my nose to the grindstone to know what everything is going on. But I'm very surprised and very appreciative. I didn't do it alone. We have people like Don Ackerman, Fred Bartz, and this whole group. Laura Linder was actually the first person that worked on the exchanges, and she deserves a lot of credit. She's been with it all the way. But thank you. I appreciate it. And Gary.
And you should say hello to the people in Nykirk that are watching them.
Doc.
Trust me.
I could say Dwee. I miss them. I wished I were there. But circumstances are what they are, and you have to make tough decisions sometimes, and this was it. And Gary, I thank you for representing us and for being there to help out with this exchange. Thank you.
And there's a... Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Connie. All right, we have 3 out-of-order resolutions, so I'll call on Mrs. Brucker for the first one, item number 17 on the agenda.
Madam President.
Good.
This is This is a resolution to help provide additional protection to crossing guards by calling for the New York State Assembly to pass Bill A 3757 and the New York State Senate to pass Bill S-122, and also urging Governor Andrew Cuomo to sign the aforementioned bills into law. And we're hoping that as soon as they get back into session, this will be the first thing on all of their desks, and they'll pay direct attention to it. I understand that there is a representative here from New York State Crossing Guards, and Mr. Ketchum.
Yep. Denise, to your right.
I'm sorry, sir. Come on up. Whereas New York State Crossing Guards have been assigned to assist over 3 million children in the state of New York to cross safely various roadways on their daily commute to and from school each day. And whereas New York State School Crossing Guards have the additional responsibility of even crossing guards at their assigned post. And whereas, while on duty for several years, school crossing guards have been subject to harassment, threats, assaults, injury, and even death simply because they are fulfilling a fiduciary duty to their job, school district, school children, municipality, the state. And whereas we need to better protect our school crossing guards, who, while on duty, and ultimately better protect the children of our state and others who may be injured by road rage vehicle operators and angry pedestrians. And whereas other municipal and state employees have been afforded extra protection under our laws because of the dangerous nature of the jobs they perform, and whereas the time has come to better protect our New York State crossing guards, and whereas New York State crossing guards are valuable civil servants, and we need to help them feel safe and be safe while they perform their extremely important job of protecting our state's children and adults while they cross our intersection. And whereas New York State Assembly Bill A 3757 and the Senate Bill of New York S-122 will amend the penal law in relation to including the assault of a school crossing guard within the offense of assault in the second degree. And whereas the purpose of these acts is to increase the penalty for assaulting a school guard while on duty or otherwise on school grounds. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Schenectady firmly calls for our state legislators to pass A 3757 and S-122. And be it further resolved that certified copies of this resolution will be forwarded to Governor Andrew Cuomo and ask that he sign these bills into a statewide law. Madam President, I would move the resolution.
Is there a second? Ms. Perazzo, all in favor? Aye. Okay, the resolution is carried. Thank you.
I want to thank the City of Schenectady, the City Council, the Mayor, for doing this. In New York City, we have roughly 200 school crossing guards who cross 1.1 million children each day. Some have lost their lives, some have been beaten up so badly and sent to the hospitals that they've never returned to their jobs, causing other school crossing guards to be afraid to walk out into the middle of an intersection. When I started this mission, I started visiting other municipalities, and I realized that it was happening all over the state. It's happening in New Jersey and other parts of the country as well. So on behalf of Local 372, as well as the president of Local 372, Santos Crespo, I want to thank you again for your help, your resolution, and we hope if there's anything that we can do for the city of Schenectady, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, the second out-of-order item is item number 18, the resolution recognizing newest lunch restaurant. Ms. Peraza, or Ms. Porterfield, rather. Excuse me.
I invite Dean Palakis to come behind the rail, please. Madam President.
You have the floor.
A resolution recognizing newest lunch for 92 years in business in the city of Schenectady. Whereas June 2013 marked the 50th anniversary of Small Business Week proclaimed by President John F. Kennedy in 1963 to honor entrepreneurs yearly. And whereas Newest Lunch, located at 715 Albany Street, is the oldest running restaurant in Schenectady. Family owned and operated since the doors opened in 1921 and currently managed by Dean Palakis and Angelo Papanikos. Whereas the unique family style of business allows the customer to receive not just a meal, but also an experience. Newest has maintained a pillar of the community, serving its famous hot dogs topped with meat sauce, gyros, and breakfast all day long. And whereas, as Newest's popularity has grown, it has become a neighborhood melting pot, and in 1992 expanded its operation to include Newest Pizza at the same location. And whereas the restaurant features a unique photo display of customers throughout the years, which represents the melting pot, which is Newest Lunch, where you can find judges and neighborhood residents seated alongside each other, and everyone is treated with courtesy and respect. And whereas, although the recipe of the famous meat sauce is the secret to its longevity, it's no mystery that the strong camaraderie, work ethic of the employees, core family values, excellent customer service, and a lot of love has helped keep Newest Lunch thriving for over 90 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Schenectady pauses in its deliberations to recognize and to say thank you to Newest Lunch for operating a business in the City of Schenectady for 92 years and to honor them during the 50-year anniversary of Small Business Week. Madam President, I move the resolution.
All right, second by Mr. Erickson. All in favor? Aye. Okay, resolution carried. Congratulations.
We're just a bunch of hardworking Greek guys down there who love the city and enjoy what we do and take pride in it, and we've done it for 92 years and hope to do it for another 92, and hopefully we'll grow and evolve with the city over the next few years. Thank you.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, the third out-of-order resolution is recognizing Bill Glock and Family Tire. Mr. Riggi will present that.
Bill, come on up. Bring your family or whoever you have with you. Don't be shy. Bill's another one who's run a business downtown, and there's been no bigger cheerleader than Bill Glock for downtown over the years. And sorry to see him go back to Maryland, and also sorry that your Orioles beat my Yankees pretty good. But what could you do? So anyhow, to the resolution. Whereas Bill Glock grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, the son of a business owner who owned several gas stations. And whereas Bill began working as a tire changer in a Goodyear company-owned store while he was still in high school, moved through the ranks and ultimately retired from Goodyear in 1986 as the Albany district manager. And whereas Bill then started his own business in Schenectady, Family Tire and Auto Service, which has operated for the past 27 years. And whereas Bill built his business on customer service, honesty, and providing quality work to the residents of Schenectady. And whereas Bill has announced that he is retiring and selling Family Tire and Auto Service. And whereas, demonstrating his devotion to his employees and to his customers, Bill has ensured that the company that purchased the business from him will retain all of the employees Bill currently employs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor, City Council, and all citizens of the City of Schenectady congratulate Bill Glock on his retirement, wish him well in his future endeavors, and thank him for the great service he has provided to our city for the past 27 years. Madam President, I move the resolution.
All right, seconded by Mrs. Brucker. All in favor? Aye. Okay, resolution is passed.
Mayor McCarthy, President King, council members, audience, thank you. This is a deeply appreciated recognition and be part of my Schenectady memories for a long time to come. If I could just digress for a second to name a couple of people some folks that had a lot to do with my success here in Schenectady. First, obviously my family, Joyce, my son Aaron and David. Their support and encouragement through the years has meant the world to me and helped me be a successful business person. Secondly, the people that work at the store, the guys and gals over the years, they provided great service, which allowed me the time to be away from the store to spend time on my volunteer efforts. Most importantly, our customers. We've been blessed, many customers with 10, 15, 20, 25, even 27 years of service coming to our facility. The last group that I want to acknowledge and share this with is the countless number of volunteers that I've been associated with for 27 years in Schenectady. Schenectady has something really unique when it comes to volunteer spirit, and I think that spirit is what makes this community so strong, and I have no doubt that it'll continue in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Bill and I have worked together on the DSIC board. He kept his business in downtown when downtown wasn't thriving, and he's been involved with the Schenectady Day Nursery and probably countless other organizations. So you're going to be missed, but we wish you all the best. Okay. Yeah. All right. We will now move to the public hearing. This is regarding an ordinance to amend Section 87-6 and 87-30 of the Code of the City of Schenectady relating to management health benefits. I have one person signed up to speak to that, and that's Linda Kelleher.
Good evening. My name is Linda Kelleher. I'm just wondering, this is a sheet of paper that we receive about this public hearing. Not really sure what we're amending it to, other than if we're just deleting this or how it's being changed. So I think before we could even vote on this, I think the people should have a right to know what's being done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will then move to the approval of the minutes for June 24th, 2013. Mrs. Brucker moves it, second by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, July 8th, 2013. Under official, from the Mayor, a list of appointments dated 7/8/13. Under general, there are none. Under petitions, there are none.
All right. Are there any committee reports? All right. Then I'll move to approval of the consent agenda at this point. Ms. Perazzo moves it, seconded by Mr. Riggi. All in favor? Aye. And we have one roll call vote. If the clerk would read that.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with the County of Schenectady relative to hazardous materials.
All right. Does anyone want to speak to that before we do the roll call? No? All right, if the clerk would call the roll. Oh, excuse me. I need somebody to move this first of all. Okay, move it. Seconded by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. Now the clerk can call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo? Ms. Porterfield? Mr. Erickson? Mr. Riggi?
Yes, just to quickly explain my vote, I think this is the right thing, but it's being done for the wrong reasons. There's definitely some political undertones to this, in my opinion, and that's the way I think it is. So I will be voting no. Thank you.
Ms. Brucker?
I vote yes, and certainly in explaining my vote, part of this is certainly connected to time and consideration to the firefighters of our city of Schenectady, but also most importantly, it signifies another important partnership
Ms. Blanchard is excused. Ms. King?
Aye. All right, so the
Motion carries.
motion carries, and I just realized I skipped over privileges of the floor related to the legislative agenda, so let me backtrack a little bit here, and Linda Kelleher.
My name is Linda Kelleher, and I'm a property owner, taxpayer, and resident of the city. First, I'd like to thank the council for its consideration and adoption of my husband, Joe Kelleher's recommendation to demolish the old DSS building rather than give the developer $1.3 million of taxpayers' money to rehab it. And as he spoke at the last council meeting, and now you agree, that it's more cost-effective to demolish the building than to rehab it. However, the building remains the property and the responsibility of the private developer, and as such, the city taxpayer should not be footing the $500,000 cost to demolish the building. The developer is one of the largest developers in the state, and as I understand it, he bought the building for the cost of its water bill. Before he bought the building, he knew, or at least the city should have disclosed to him, that there was asbestos in the building and it would have to be removed, and it's a costly process. The building is his property and not the city taxpayers. The cost of the demolition is his responsibility, not the city taxpayers. It is not the city taxpayers' responsibility to demolish or pay for the demolition of the building for the developer's housing project. Not 1 cent, and certainly not $500,000 of city taxpayer money should be considered or given, as it is a gift to this developer. The city taxpayers are not and should not be considered blank checks for developers' projects. Why not explore other funding alternatives like brownfield money? Furthermore, the borrowing of the money for the demolition of the city-owned properties and for the demolition of the old DSS building are separate issues and should be considered and voted on as such. I would like to reiterate that the CDBG money is not guaranteed money. What this loan does is to decrease the amount of CDBG money that not-for-profits and neighborhood associations can apply for and receive. The other issues I'd like to speak about will be to Newest Lunch and Bill Glock and the Family Tire. I have frequented both of these businesses and been pleased with the service, and I wish them both luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Sanders.
Thank you. My name is Robert Sanders. I live on Halsey Drive in the city of Schenectady. I'd like to speak about the towing issue. I think you took that off the consent agenda. I'm not sure. But I had an issue with towing, and more or less I think you all know where I live, but I was towed 2 houses from where I live when my tow company was coming after I was hit. And Holmes and Kugler did that. And then my car was impounded, and I was supposed to pay a $158 fee. There was no tickets issued. I was given a hard time over the phone. I was supposed to pay this $158. You know, I had called a couple of people. The whole situation got straightened out, but boy, I'm telling you, it was just terrible, the situation I was put through. It was just so lucky that a couple of people guided me through the situation. But, you know, if it was the average person, you know, their car would have sat in that lot day after day after day. And that's not what a Schenectady person's supposed to be put through. No way. Yeah, they're not just because they're, and it was, they towed my car into my driveway if they wanted to, but they didn't do that. Holmes and Kugler, they towed it all the way over to their lot. I find it very misgiving and how they treat the people of Schenectady, and I find it just sad. There has to be some kind of way that the city council sits down with these towing people, and I've heard towing people come up to me at my job and they say, well, I need a public defender, we're making no money. Well, you know why you're not making no money? You're ripping people off. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I'm out for a fair buck for everybody, but at the same time, you know, when you won't tow a car into a person's driveway two houses away, when I'm sitting at a mailbox, there's a problem. And, you know, like I said, everything worked out, but that's the tow situation in the city of Schenectady.
Thank you. Harry Brand.
Harry Brand, resident of Schenectady. I'm concerned about this loan you want to take out for $3 million and propose $500,000 for the building on Knott Street, the DSS building. I don't know who owns that building. If the city owns it, that's one thing, and we may have an obligation there. But if Mr. Galisi owns that building, then we should keep our money in our own account. First of all, we can't even pay the loans that we have out now. But to tear down some of these deteriorated buildings in the city, I can understand it, to improve the conditions here in our city. But for Knott Street and for a large contractor, I feel absolutely no money should be spent for that. To tear it down, to decontaminize it, whatever Mr. Galisi wants to do with that building, let him do with it if he owns it. There's nothing here in the loan saying anything about who owns the building. I don't know who owns the building, but if he owns it, that should be his total responsibility, and the city should get away from it. We got so much money we could spend here to help this city out. And these homes that sat around here for years that need to be torn down, and you want to take the bother with that one on Knott Street? That doesn't look that bad compared to what we got here, burned out homes all throughout our city. And I say we should not give him $1 for anything on that property or that building. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up to speak to the legislative agenda, so I'll declare that portion of the meeting closed, and we'll move into privilege of the floor regarding general city business. The first person I'm going to call on is Donnie Birch.
Yep. I wonder what type of kickbacks somebody's getting for, you know, just letting all that take place, like tearing down people's buildings like that. You know, I mean, that I didn't even look into it, but just hearing it sounds like a no-brainer to me. I don't know if you guys already voted on that, but whatever. You know, as far as the caper and all this money that's being spent, I see Mr. McCarthy's out to dinner all the time. I wonder if you know, the city's getting like billed for that, because a lot of lavish dinners are going on. This guy's getting pretty big up there. But what I want to say is I've been getting maliciously prosecuted left and right and getting beat by the long arm of the law over here, and these guys don't have a case at all. I mean, look, there's over 100 arrests in here and police contacts. And I'll hold this paper up. This is an official thing given by the DA. I only got convicted 3 times out of 100-something times, and I'm getting represented by public defenders who their hands are tied, or they're just surreptitiously dealing with the DA. And I want to talk about, you know, I've been talking about mechanisms and facets and whatnot. And the thing is, there's just so many, and you really wouldn't even be able to identify them unless you were, you know, affected by them. And the thing is, I've been going through this whole gauntlet of being prosecuted here in Schenectady simply just because I came out and blew the whistle on certain things. And now I've been getting selectively targeted, and I mean, my blood pressure is through the roof. And it's crazy, and you know, and then when I come in here and say I got evidence to prove this corruption, nobody's reaching out to me to be like, you know what, let me see it, let me see it. Well, obviously I got it from you guys because I got it through Freedom of Information. And since I've been doing it and being like, whatever, man. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna get lost like in my thought, but anyway, I've been using FOIL for a while to get a lot of this information that I have, like squad car videos, different things and whatnot. I got 3 different appeals from these 3 different convictions, and one of the convictions was from like 11 years ago. The other one was from 8, and the most recent was from like 3 years ago. I haven't got my transcripts for any of them. It's criminal. I mean, that's a violation of my 6th Amendment right to due process. You know, and I'm not even getting that. And it's just because they want to cover up the judicial abuse, the misconduct, the cops that perjured themselves on the stand, the way that I fired my attorney right in the midst of things and started cross-examining them and basically eliciting lies, you know, from these guys and getting myself vindicated, you know. And the thing is, I'm being prosecuted. There's this one person, they forwarded a letter to the DA and said that, this is just a little excerpt from what this person wrote. Through this tough time, I realized that the incident that occurred last year between Donald Birch III and I was just a misunderstanding, and things said could have been misconstrued on my part. And they still want to prosecute me? You know how much money it takes to prosecute somebody and go through all these little Like, I know you're going to say summarize, but it's going to take more than 3 minutes, all right? Because this took 10 years of my life, and I can't get a job. When they do a background check, I want to be a productive member of society. I want to continue school, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I know. I'm not done though.
I'm sorry, Mr. Birch, your time is up.
It is.
So.
It's up. But you know, you could have gave me at least another minute to express something.
I have to be consistent.
You're not sorry. You're not sorry.
I have to be consistent with everyone.
Pledging allegiance to the flag.
Thank you, Mr. Birch. All right, Linda Kelleher. Mr. Birch, that is enough. Okay, Ms. Kelleher. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Linda Kelleher, and I live in the city. I'd like to announce that the Roots and Wisdom Farm stand on Fair Avenue in Central State Street neighborhood opens this Thursday, July 11th. It'll be open from 3 to 6 from July 11th to August 8th. Roots and Wisdom is a youth nutrition educational program in which the youth prepare the soil, plant, harvest, and sell the produce grown there in the Fair Avenue garden. It's also a brown bag lunch there this Friday at noon. Please bring your lunch and enjoy the garden and good conversation with the youth involved in the program. I've enjoyed many brown bag lunches there. It is so refreshing to hear the young people speak so proudly of what they're doing there. I'd also have an announcement from the Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Association on Thursday, July 11th at 7 p.m. Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara will present certificates of merits for Cleanup Day participants. It's a TNT Dance Ballroom, professional dancer Thomas Russell, and it's at the Faith Deliverance Tabernacle Church on Ostrander Place. Also on August 8th, there's a community picnic, and it will bring a dish or a dessert to share, and music will be by my husband, Joe Kelleher, and the smokehouse provided by the Schenectady Fire Department. I have copies of both of these for the council and for the city clerk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Harry Brand.
Harry Brand, resident of Schenectady. I think it's wonderful that the city was able to sell 100 or more homes here in this city. We certainly need new people. We certainly need to have these homes occupied, and we certainly can use the tax money. One of my concerns is this, that there's only one complete supermarket in the city, and we have, I'd say, roughly 55,000 people living here. One complete supermarket on Eastern Avenue. When you sell these houses, what do you tell the people? Go to Rotterdam to shop, go to Niskuna, go to Glenville. One supermarket that is a complete supermarket on Eastern Avenue, Eastern Parkway. I don't understand it, that we can't get more supermarkets in this city. These farmer markets are wonderful, but there's many people here in the city that can't afford them. And there's a lot of things there that are not available to these people. Fresh fruits and vegetables, that's great. But we need more supermarkets in this city besides the complete one on Eastern Avenue. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the social service building down on Broadway. Traffic there is horrendous. To have a place there for the buses to pull off, that's one thing. I went by there at 7 o'clock this morning, and a tractor trailer with steel on it sat there. 7 o'clock this morning. 2 o'clock this afternoon, the truck is still there, lights flashing. How do you leave a truck in the middle of the street for that many hours and nobody makes a move? Does Mr. Galisi own the city? It appears that way. We want to help him hand and foot with everything. With that building down there and the masonry that's fallen off it, has he been given a citation? Has he been told to fix it by a certain length of time? There's nothing happening. That's been there since before winter. Probably at least November or December that the concrete's been falling off of it. Now you're going to put 180, 200 people from the Y there? What a mess. You've got 2 garages there. One of them opened up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. Traffic blocked off. Trucks hauling in cars, blocking off the street. Not enough room for parking. They used to have a dumpster there overflowing. Now they got a trailer there overflowing. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know where you're going in this city, but boy, we need a lot of improvement.
Thank you. Robert Sanders.
The bill I just handed Councilman Erickson is Assembly Bill 876 by Assemblyman Wetburn, or in the Senate, it's by Andrew Lanza, 3734. It's for a Child Care Reform Act, and I think it's a major piece of legislation to put forward. One thing it doesn't do, it doesn't change any of the Child Support Standard Acts, and I think this was a major piece of a piece when they wrote the legislation. So, you know, anybody who's getting support, they don't have to worry about support being changed. But what it does is people that live in the same county, or people that have relationships that get along, where there's no parenting, where there isn't neglect, where there isn't orders of protection, where you get along if there's a divorce or there's some type of separation, you could actually have some type of custody, a 50-50 type of relationship. Now, this bill hasn't made its way forward. Now, Councilwoman Brucker just put a good piece of legislation forward, and I hope that piece of legislation makes its way through. This has multi-sponsors in both houses. But there's an assemblywoman in the 41st District, Colleen Weinstein, who doesn't want this piece of legislation to go forward. Phil Steck sits on that committee. He won't push that piece of legislation through. I sat there and spoke to the assemblyman, okay? Assemblyman Santa Barbara's a little bit, you know, more, a little bit more friendly to the bill. It's going to take a little bit more coasting. I gave you the bill. I hope you read the bill. I'm a consultant for the Family Civil Liberties Union. That they come out of New York State. They have over 7,000 members that wrote that bill. I actually would like to take some of the language that Councilwoman Brucker had and slam it into that bill next year. Actually, the bill's good for 2 years, so you know, if we could rewrite the bill next year, I'm sure the Assemblyman and the Senator, and you know, some of the members behind that bill, Diane Savino, I can go on and on and on with names. I think I've talked to Councilwoman Porterfield about it. I know I've talked to the President of the City Council about this. But this is something we need to do for our children. We have the Marriage Equality Act, okay, which we've made progress, which we've made a lot of progress in society. This is just another step forward, okay, in society. So I would like you to read the bill, look over the bill, the mayor to look over the bill, and if you want to write a resolution, write a resolution. If you don't want to write a resolution, don't write a resolution. But it's another cure for society. From one who works in family court, believe me, I know.
Mr. Sanders, I need you to summarize. Okay, thank you. Portia Alston.
Good evening. Portia Alston, City of Schenectady. There's a couple of things that I just want to mention. As you know, we've been out getting signatures on petitions, and in doing so, I've talked to some residents. My district is 32, and so I've talked to some residents up there, and I know that issues in Hamilton Hill have been brought forth on numerous occasions. But I just wanted to bring to your attention some of the things that a couple of the residents have said. And one thing is that they're asking that, if it's possible, somewhere on Hamilton Hill there needs to be a stop sign, because you have the art center there and children are going back and forth across the street. So I don't know if it could be on Hamilton and Schenectady Street, but if somebody could look into it and see if that's a possibility. The other thing is there was an issue, I guess, on 4th of July. Police were called, and it took a couple of hours. There were like 50 kids in the street fighting, and it took a couple of hours before the police responded. Now, I don't know if they thought it was not important. I'm not real sure. But when you have that many kids gathered together, you don't know what's going on. So if the police are called, I think they need to respond. I mean, even if they just come and say, you know, you need to disperse, something needs to happen. And that didn't happen. I think it was an hour and a half later before somebody showed up to take a look. And this was on Hamilton Hill. And the other thing is there's a car parked on Schenectady Street, like, I don't know, a few feet back from Hamilton Hill that's been parked there for a long time. I don't understand how this car can stay parked there, because people gather there, they hang there, people sit in the car, people sleep in the car. There's a lot of things. But that car should not still be there, and it's been there for as long as I can remember. And just because it has tags on it doesn't mean that it should continue to sit there. It needs to be moved. Something needs to happen with it, because the person that owns that car thinks it's okay. I came down Hamilton Hill coming here. The gambling in Jerry Burrell Park is ridiculous. I mean, just in the middle of the day, you see young people in the pavilion throwing dice. That should not be happening. That park was put there, and the equipment was put there for the children. They can't even go to the park because of the gambling and the drugs. It needs to be looked into. I have mentioned this before, but I don't know that anything happened on it. And I just wanted to say that, you know, people on Hamilton Hill own homes. They pay taxes. They need to be recognized as well as anybody else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Noreen, is it Supermanian?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam President, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Noreen Subramani. I'm a resident of Schenectady. I'm the Vice President of Sri Ram Mandir. It's on 1531 Becker Street. I'm here with a few of my church members are here to support me. Our priest is also here too. The parking lot next to our mandir is 108 Brandywine Avenue. We've been hearing a lot of different stories about it. And recently I came to the mayor's office and I learned that it's not going to be for sale for right now. I think they're leasing it. And with the consent of my members and our priests, we'll be happy to know if we can be a part of it, in leasing a part of it, or what do we have to do, you know, to take it from there. We'll be happy to know what's the next step that me and my members will have to do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Carla Page.
Good evening. I want to say good evening to our Honorable Mayor, Madam King there, the President and City Council members and all of the public. And I just wanted to share something with you about the Hughes Williams Helping Hands Committee. This committee was formed in 2009, and it was named after a wonderful community leader, Brother Hughes Williams, formed before he passed away to honor him, and we stayed together after his death. Hughes Williams Helping Hands Committee, a 501c3 non-for-profit group of myself and 9 other sisters, and I'm just going to say their first names: Christine, Beatrice, Marva, Mayesta, Betty, Mona, Pearl, Beverly, and Dawn. Our mission statement is very full, and I'm just going to say a few things from it. What our mission statement is we want to provide an academic donations to cultivate leadership, foster self-worth, responsibility, and pride through local fundraising efforts and private donations. We've had many successful things that we've done. Things like making donations to the Craig Street Boys and Girls Club, the Carver Community Center, the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, and we helped sponsor a young lady go abroad with the People to People program. Plus, working with the elderly and doing holiday baskets and food baskets, 2 people at the Ten Eyck and 1 person at Summit Towers. I want to mention that on Saturday, July 27th, at the Harmony Banquet Hall at 1410 State Street, we are going to be giving a function that is going to be something that's honoring, saluting, recognizing some women in the community who have affected many lives and worked tirelessly. We're going to be honoring Mrs. Marilyn Lyons, Mrs. Martha LeBron. A lot of people know her as Miss Martha Reese. Also Miss Melissa Lewis. And instead of a shooting on Hamilton Hill, we're going to be doing a sharing. And the thing about it is, we want to know if the City Council will help us in any way possible. We also want to find out from you here at the City Council if there's anyone that we can help. What I want to be able to speak to you about is we want to be able to develop an ongoing relationship with the City Council. So we meet every 3rd Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the Carver Library. And what I'd like to say more is that a lot of times people aren't recognized for the great things that they do. They work and they do things, and they never even look for recognition. So we've chosen 3 women, and we're calling this Women, and I've got some flyers here, Women of Action. So before I close, and I know that my time's just about up, I want to thank you, City Council, for the things that you've done. You're a strong City Council, and for me, if there's any one of you that'd like to, I have some tickets. If you'd like a ticket or a flyer, more than happy to get one to you. But the key thing here is we're honoring women who don't usually get recognized.
Ms. Page, I need you to summarize.
Yes. May I say the ticket prices or no?
Sure.
Is that all right? You don't mind? Okay. It starts at 4 o'clock on Saturday, July 27th at the Harmony Banquet Hall. It's $20 a ticket. And for children 12 and over, it's $10. And we would just love to have your support. And just to let you know that wonderful things are happening in Schenectady, and you all keep up the very good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Irene Cronin.
Good evening. Mayor McCarthy, City Council members. My name is Irene Cronin, and I live in the little section of Mount Pleasant that near the post office that a lot of people forget about. But we have had several burglaries within the past couple of years, and I would like to address a burglary that just happened to me this past weekend. I went away for a couple of days on the 4th of July and returned home on Saturday and at 3:30 p.m. and I immediately noticed that my laptop was missing. And then I also noticed a drawer. Obviously someone had been in my home, so I called the police. And I was told that to take an inventory and that an officer would be up shortly. So I went up to my bedroom and I saw that everything was dumped on my bed, the drawers were opened, and they only took really good jewelry. You know, they left costume jewelry, heirlooms that, you know, can't be replaced. And 2 hours went by, and then I called the police again, and I was told that they were very busy, sort of going along with the response. So I decided to do some yard work, and I noticed that my hedge clippers and garden gloves were missing, which was pretty creepy. And so another 2 hours went by, and I wasn't able to leave my house for fear that I would miss, you know, an officer. So finally at 11:30 p.m., this had started at 3:30 p.m., I called, and I was told that there was an emergency, and so I fell asleep exhausted, frustrated, and a little anxious. And So I woke up to a message. Actually, I didn't hear the message until the next morning, but there was a message on my cell phone that happened at 3:15 a.m. indicating that there was an officer outside of my house and could I come outside. Well, obviously I didn't because I was asleep. So the next morning, instead of calling, I went to church, and then I went over to the police station, and I explained the situation to the officer there. He was very accommodating, and he said that I speak to you. So therefore, that's why I am here, is because he said that they are so short-staffed that therefore there could be no response. So anyway, throughout all of this, I remained really calm, patient, and really, I mean, obviously anybody who's been burglarized, I'd never have before, felt very violated, and really didn't feel protected by the people that I thought were there to protect me. And perhaps if we install cameras, as was mentioned in today's paper, there was something in the Gazette today, perhaps if we install some cameras even over near us by Anchor's Fish Fry, by the post office, we definitely could use with them. And also we would like to see the tunnel that leads from Watt Street, that goes down to Hamburg Street, blocked off. But I would like to acknowledge one officer, Jeremy Pace, for his professionalism and his helpfulness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mary McLean.
Good evening. My name is Mary McLean, and I live in the city. There may have been a misunderstanding of my comments at the last council meeting. I did not object to the workers' overtime. It was necessary that the city workers clean up after the storm of May 27, regardless of the time of day. I am glad that no one was injured and everyone was safe. Bellevue is a great neighborhood, and the residents got the best the city had to offer. The workers answered the call and did a superb job. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up, so I'm going to declare this portion of the meeting closed, and we'll move on to miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Erickson?
We voted prior to the public speaking section. Do we need to go back and vote again just as a technicality, or are we clear? Didn't we vote early before we had public speaking?
Yes.
Do we, from a technicality standpoint, need to vote again since we voted prior to, just, not that my vote is going to change, we're just saying we want to make sure we do it right?
All of the comments concerned legislation that you did not vote on tonight.
Yeah. I think 2 of the 3 comments were focused on the issue that I pulled off the agenda.
Okay.
And I think the other one was all right, too.
Yeah. So as long as we're good. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have to come back 2 weeks from now and redo what we just did.
I debated whether to ask anybody if they wanted to change any votes, but
yeah.
I think we're okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. So go ahead, Mr. Erickson, you have the floor.
Yeah, I got more to say. So, yeah, basically, regarding the item that we did pull off, and we had some people speaking tonight in terms of the economic development monies that we would be spending on Knott Street. You know, clearly a controversial topic. The city council really, I think this council doesn't have a lot of experience doing economic development. This is usually something that for the past bunch of years Metroplex has really been doing in the city. So we really haven't spent a lot of money doing economic development or redevelopment of major funding of major development. And so we got to make sure we take it slow and do it right, and have a plan and a process in place for doing this. Initially, this idea started out as a $1.3 million investment to rebuild or renovate this structure. Has now changed to a demolition type of project, and clearly there are people who would like and not like those ideas, and I understand that. I think for this to go forward, and I'm flexible in terms of being willing to do this a couple of different ways, but I think that we need to make sure from a council's perspective that we make sure that there's a time frame in place, contractually bound, for rebuilding. I think that the contract would need to specify that the payment would be made after a new building is constructed, not after demolition, because my concern is that if we were to demolish and then had an empty lot and then reconstruction was delayed, we wouldn't be getting a return on our investment. This is a $500,000 investment. Lastly, I have another concern regarding pilots and how the taxes would be administered for the property once it's redeveloped. And I think we need to make sure we understand those things before we go through. And this has been held off for a week, so we have a little bit more time to discuss it. But I think that as we move forward on an economic redevelopment program, expenditure for the city, we need to make sure we're doing it right and we cross all the T's and dot all the I's and make sure we think it through completely. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Porterfield.
First of all, I would like to extend my sympathy to the family of Courtney Erickson. Certainly a great loss to the city, to all the different organizations that he was involved with. I only got to know him within the past couple of years, but certainly he made an impact on my life. And obviously, with the turnout at his fundraiser as well as his homegoing, he also made an impact on a lot of people. So I just want to express my sympathy to his family. Regarding the stop signs, which was brought up today around Jerry Burrell Park, this is something that we've been discussing and working on with John Coluccio from Signal Control. And so I'd like to let people know that first of all, there are going to be fluorescent at-play signs that are going to be going up around the park so that people know to slow down, that there are children in the area. Additionally, with regard to the stop signs and where they can be located, Mr. Coluccio has looked at the New York State Department of Labor in terms of where you could put speed limit signs and stop signs. And he says that can't be done based on where it is. It's usually around schools. This is not a school. It is a park. So there is something as much being done right now that can be done to make people aware of the fact that there are children at play and, you need to slow down. We are, as Ms. Alston has said, hearing a lot about the illegal activity that goes on in the park. And yes, we definitely need to address that, because there are people who live on Schenectady Street who are not willing to bring their children. There are 3, I think, or maybe 4 daycares located directly across from the park. They will not bring their children there. They will go to Central Park because they feel like, right across the street is not a safe place for the children. So it is something that we definitely need to address and see how we can stop this from happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I'll offer my condolences to the family of Court Erickson, a nice young man. Certainly didn't have enough time to spend on this earth, but that wasn't the plan, obviously. Also, condolences to the family, Tom Isabella, for the passing of his lovely wife, Mary. Cancer is just a terrible thing. That's all I can say, and everybody's touched by it one way or the other, so condolences to the families. About the situation in Burrell Park, Carey Street Park is being addressed. These are forms of terrorism. That's the way I see it. When people can't use property that's for specific use, parks are playgrounds. That's what they are. They're playgrounds. They're not there to do malicious mischief, to do illegal gambling or anything like that. That's not what they're there for. So it's time for us, again, I'll go back to my zero tolerance. That's what we need. We want people to live in the city. Well, we have to afford them to live in a safe and peaceful environment. And when that doesn't happen, it doesn't reflect well. It's really as simple as that. I'm glad to see we're going to maybe put something in place for Carey Street. I mean, that poor lady put thousands and thousands of dollars in a pool, and they're wrecking it as they're fixing it. So this stuff can't go on. It's terrorism. It's domestic terrorism, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it is. And people just thumb their nose at the law, and that can't happen. That's not the way it's supposed to work. About the 108, and the mayor knows, I have not been on board with this since he first presented it to me in early May. I haven't been on board with this. I will not be on board with this. If the numbers don't work for a private contractor, well, he owns the building, Mr. Brand. That's who owns it. Mr. Galisi owns it. The city doesn't own the building, and I don't think it's our part to do this. We want to have walk-to-work programs. Well, let's have a place for people to work, number one. That's the first thing we need. People need jobs in this city. There's no jobs here. That's all we talk about is people going to walk to work and things like that. Well, we need to have jobs for people to walk to work to. That's maybe where our focus should be, and things like that. And again, what Mr. Brand brought up, I was going to bring it up anyhow. I had my notes down. The building, the one-stop center on Broadway is disgusting. Where's code enforcement with this thing? It's been well over, your time frame's a little short, Mr. Brand, because it's longer than this past fall. That stucco has been coming off the building almost from when it was finished, not long after it was finished. The problem between Mr. Galisi and his architect or contractor, that's his problem. That's not the city's problem. He has to fix it, then he can get reimbursed if there's a lawsuit. We shouldn't have to wait. People look at that coming up Broadway. They look at that daily. We wouldn't allow that on my house or your house or anybody else's house here. Code enforcement will come right down on us with a heavy hammer. Well, why isn't it happening there? Let's have a level playing field for everybody. Let them fix the building because it wasn't done right. I don't know who was overseeing that job. I did auto body work in my life. I know you can't parge over brick. It doesn't work. I know that. You have to put some kind of lath up there. It wasn't my job to oversee it, that's for sure. The thing about it should have never been there in the first place. We can go back. No bus cutouts. I lived in Bellevue for 66 years. I know Bellevue. I've never saw traffic backed up the way it's been. Now with the Oak Street Bridge closed, it's even worse. But there's no bus cutouts there. Why would anybody put building after building, no places for buses to pull over to let people out or pick them up? I don't get it. I mean, this stuff, it just seems too simple to not have answers to, but there doesn't seem to be answers to it. We're stuck with that down there. Now we're going to have 150 apartments. We're going to have the same problem. Even it's going to be multiplied. This isn't good planning. That's all I can say. But as far as development, let the private developers do their thing. That's what entrepreneurism is all about in this country. That's what capitalism is about. That's what we have here. We don't use government money to help them. That's not the way it should work. We need to build jobs in this city. That's what we need. We need people to be able to go to work. They can find, there's plenty of housing here, plenty of low to moderate income housing in Schenectady. We have more than enough. I don't know why we have to invest in any more. So $500,000 for that, we can discuss it and everything. I'll keep quiet because my mind's made up on it. It's not going to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, no. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Wanted to again thank everyone for the opportunity. We went to Nykirk. There was no city money expended on that, even though we did. The city paid for the plaque that I presented to the mayor there, but some reference was made that city funds were used that I paid for my own expenses. But it shows the good things that are happening here between the two cities and the camaraderie that exists because of people working together. I apologize for the slow police response. I don't know, Commissioner Bennett will look into it tomorrow. I don't know why an officer at the desk would refer somebody back to the police or back to the city council. That's not the procedure we used. I've got command staff there that I would expect them to handle that problem. Appreciate the discussion on the 108 loan. Again, all these things are difficult, and I would prefer not to even be submitting the entire loan package to City Council. Mr. Riggi articulates an interesting position there, but if you look at Annie's Pizza up on Broadway, that is owned by a private owner. He had a business there, had stuff. Now, we're supposed to just let that sit there? And you can make that example all the way through the city of places that are dilapidated, they're run down, and they create an extremely negative environment on the community. This money will allow us to move ahead and eliminate some of that blight and encourage investment in some of the adjacent property. And people just have these vague concepts of let's the private developers come in, let's let people do it. There isn't a proposal. You got to work on the specifics. You got to have something in place, and we got to make it work. And so that social services building has sat there. Union College looked at it. Other people have looked at it. Gillespie is in place. They are willing to take it. They're willing to do the rehab. They looked at what the numbers were. There's people who believe we should preserve that building. It was built just after the turn of the century. There is some historical significance to it. That's one position. The other position is, well, we demolish it and put something up there. But I want something to happen with it. We can't just pretend that it's not there. We can't just walk away from it. And that's what's happened throughout the city on all these old houses and other things. And since I've been mayor, you know, we've been much more proactive. We don't release a fire scene prematurely, just when the fire's out, which is what the past practice was. We have the homeowners there, you know, the building inspector is there, the fire chief, police chief, and we deal with it. And most times where we've had extensive damage, the building comes down. The one building we'd left up on Bradley Boulevard, the homeowner there, was more of a difficult situation. That stood up for, you know, over a year. It's finally down now, but again, it was, they were not moving in what I would call the most proactive manner. And the law department, we told them, you either take it down or we're going to sue you and come after you. And so we're getting those results. These things are not without discussion, they're not without debate, there's some controversy, but the end product is always to try and increase value and create home ownership opportunities here in the city. So I appreciate the council's discussion, your participation in it, and ideas as we go through it, because we're not perfect here, and in most cases we're blazing a trail that has not happened in other communities. We're not following a footprint because we don't have a lot of money. We've done all the projects so far with the Homes Initiative, Key to the City. There's been basically no public dollars in that. We've done that with private sector dollars, and now this is the first investment of public dollars looking to make, and it's again, $3 million. I believe it will have a dramatic impact in terms of sending a message out that we're serious about dealing with the blight. It will show neighborhoods that we are, again, going to take the appropriate action and live up to our responsibility as a city to do the remedial action. And it will increase the value of adjacent property, and it will increase the value of the properties that the city has foreclosed on and that we're selling now. We're seeing sale prices that a year ago we didn't think we could get. We've brought in a broad-based group of realtors. We're marketing the houses. You know, some of the sales are, again, it's awkward. There's timing issues. I appreciate the council's flexibility in working with that. So we're going down a path where there will be, again, long-term results. During the time we're going down that path, people are going to criticize. They're going to criticize me. It's the nature of this job where people always think they've got a better idea or think they've got a more simplistic solution. If they have it, let's look at it. Let's work through it. But most times it's not. It's rhetoric. And I have to assume the responsibility that where something goes wrong, it's going to be my fault. I don't walk away from things or look to blame other people. I make the decisions. I expect to hold the staff accountable for it. And that we're going to have an end product, again, that justifies people's belief in giving me the opportunity to serve as mayor, giving you the opportunity to be members of the city council, and that we're positioning this city for long-term growth. And so I can thank you, Madam President, and again look forward to our continued relationship and working forward on this.
Thank you. And I've been out of town for a couple of weeks on a long dreamed of vacation to Alaska, which I highly recommend if any of you have a chance to go. But while I was away, we lost several people, and I think the council recognized them at the last meeting, but I just wanted to acknowledge them too, with John Palomini, Jim Schmidt, Courtney Erickson, all wonderful people, all very committed to this city, and it's sad to have lost so many. And also my sympathies also go out to Tom Isabella in the loss of his wife. So with that, if there's no other business to come before the City Council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Eric. Oh, excuse me, a motion to recess the meeting. I even have a big note here to remind me that. Okay, Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Erickson. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we are recessed. We will reconvene 5:30 next Monday to discuss item number 4 as well as some property sales.